Good morning. This is your 10 a.m. daily weather briefing. Continuing to see some light winds and low clouds around the area with some slightly reduced visibilities. Overall, should see some clouds breaking as we get into the afternoon, which we'll see a slight chance of a isolated shower or possibly a thunderstorm popping up around the area as we get into the afternoon and early part of the evening. And we'll be moving into a warmer pattern as we move over the next couple of days with a similar picture as to what we'll see today, where we can see that diurnally driven shower or thunderstorm popping up around the region uh, with that chance dissipating as we move into the overnight time frame. If we take a look at the current surface analysis, we have a warm boundary that's going to be lifting through the area today. That upper level low is starting to open up and continuing to track off to the northeast, so we'll continue to see some influence of that today, and then eventually we'll see this warm boundary lifting through, and it's going to set up for some quite warm conditions as we move into the end of the week and through the weekend. Upper level winds this morning fairly light through the column, seeing winds below 15 knots as we stay below 16,000 feet, and just into the 20 to 30 knot range as we go above that, with our peak wind at 27 knots at 25,000 feet. Freezing level this morning was at 11,200 feet. We'll take a look at the current visible satellite as well as the composite radar here. We can see no shower activity in the local area at this time. Still seeing those stubborn low clouds across the region with some decent cloud cover across the region as well. Starting to see that try to break up at points south, and that should continue to make its way into the local area as we get into the afternoon, to see a few more peaks of sun as we get into the afternoon today. If we take a look at the HER model for today, see how we can expect things to play out for the next 48 hours as we move through the day. As mentioned, getting into the afternoon time frame as we start to see some breaks in that cloud activity, some daytime heating start building around the area. As you can see, some indications of light radar returns popping up, mainly as we get past the 16 local time frame and continuing into the evening time frame as well. And then we will see most of this activity, particularly later in the evening, firing up off to the west and southwest of the local area. So should see much of that staying over there. We do see some indications, maybe a light shower making it through the area as we move through the early morning hours tomorrow, but more likely we'll see low clouds building back in with a chance for some fog and low ceilings around the area. As we go through the day on Thursday, again, similar conditions, looking mainly dry. We'll see low clouds early on, and then a bit more in the way of sun, and then once again as we get into the afternoon time frame, her model here not quite as bullish, but does indicate some light radar returns popping up around the region, indicating that kind of environment for a potential pop-up shower or thunderstorm around the area. We'll see that phasing out as we go into the evening, losing that daytime heating, and then going into Friday, we'll see low clouds potentially during the early morning hours of Friday once again, and then see those start to burn off as we get into the start of the day on Friday. If we zoom out here looking at European model, once again we'll see afternoon chance of shower or thunderstorm popping up Friday afternoon into the first part of the evening before that dissipates as we move through the overnight time frame. We'll see fairly warm conditions building into the area as we move into Saturday for the weekend, and we'll see this fairly weak boundary pushing through late Saturday into Sunday before once again we'll see chance of an afternoon shower or storm, and then we move into a fairly dry period as we move through the remainder of the weekend and into the start of next week. With that weak boundary pushing through, we'll see a slight drop in the temperatures from above average to more around average as we move through the beginning of next week, but it does look like we'll see dry conditions and some slightly breezy conditions with this slightly tighter pressure gradient across the area as we move through the first half of the week, but looking at quite nice conditions as we move into our next work week. So looking at the 24-hour weather chart for today, did have those red conditions this morning for those reduced ceilings around the area. Do expect that to burn off as we get into the afternoon. That's when we'll introduce a yellow risk for some precip and lightning, with that about 20 to possibly 30% chance of a pop-up isolated shower or thunderstorm again around the area. We'll see that start to dissipate as we move into the evening time frame. And that's when we'll start to see some low clouds building back in. So we do introduce that yellow risk initially and then increasing to an orange risk as we get closer to sunrise. We'll keep a yellow chance for precip through that time frame as well, with a slight chance of maybe some light rain or drizzle with that low cloud as it moves through the area. Overall, expecting our high temperature around 74 degrees this afternoon, and not seeing things too cool as we go into the evening with a low expected around 62. Winds will be out of the southeast as we get into the afternoon today. Seeing those peak winds up around 15 knots, and we'll see those winds becoming light and variable as we move into the early morning hours of Thursday, and that's going to help that potential for some low cloud and patchy fog developing through that time frame as well. Clouds running slightly above normal. And looking at the extended forecast here, again, as mentioned, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, we'll see that slight chance of an afternoon shower or storm popping up with that daytime heating. We'll see upper 70s for our highs on Thursday, getting into the 80s as we move into Friday and Saturday, so quite warm conditions, well above average for this time of year, about 10 degrees above average as we move overnight Saturday into Sunday. We'll see that weak boundary pushing through. We'll see some slightly breezy conditions through today on Sunday with temperatures cooling down into the upper 70s once again. Looking at dry conditions, and we're back down to fairly seasonable temperatures as we move into Monday and Tuesday with high temperatures in the low 70s and our low temperatures right around the mid 50s. And looks like we'll see plenty of sun as we move through the Sunday to Tuesday time period as well. That's going to wrap up the 10 a.m. daily weather briefing. We'll be back again tomorrow at 8:15 and 10 a.m. Enjoy the rest of your day.